Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I have a super cute little gnome that's a great gift for a graduate. So, he's super easy to make. You could customize him any way you want to. You could actually make him into any kind of gnome, not just a graduation gnome. So, if you want to know how to make this little guy, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, for this one, I've given you the pattern in the description below, and you're going to cut 2 of these out of fleece, and you can cut them out of whatever color fleece that you want to, but it needs to be something stretchy. Next, we're going to take some fabric tack, and we're just going to go ahead and glue this together. Now, just start on the bottom edge of the head and go all the way around and stop at the bottom edge of the other, on the other side of the head. Because we're going to have it open so that we can turn it right side out to stuff it. And put plenty of glue, and then you want to let this dry really well before you start playing with it. So I would put it aside for maybe a couple of hours before I started turning it right side out. And then just go ahead and take some pliers and start turning it right side out. Be a little bit gentle as you're doing it, but just get it turned right side out. Now I'm just going to take a little bone folder and push it down into the arms and legs just to open those up. And you can just use anything that has a round edge on it. But you want to make sure you spend some time on this part to get it completely open. Okay, next I'm just going to start stuffing it. And I'm using pliers to get down into the legs, but you want to stuff this pretty stuffed. And I'm just going to get my legs and my arms done, and then I'm going to start doing the rest of my body. Okay, once we get the body really full, then we're going to go ahead and start sewing up the head. And we're going to do some hand stitching on this. Now, you could sew this entire thing with a sewing machine. Okay, and then to stitch up the head, we're just going to start down at one corner and then go all the way to the opposite side. And then leave an opening on the side because we're going to have to stuff the head pretty full too. And I would use a heavy thread on this. We're going to just go ahead and start filling up the head cavity since we left the side open. Just go ahead and start stuffing it until you get it completely full. And then we're going to go ahead and stitch the side closed here in a little bit. Now, all of this is going to be covered up pretty much by his robe and his hat, so don't worry so much about your stitches. But you do want to make sure that you get that head full because we're going to have to put his hat on his head. You want this to be a firm piece when you get through. Okay, next we're just going to take some needle and thread and we're going to stitch up that side. Just make sure you get all that stuffing down in there. Okay, then to tie that off, we're just going to take our needle and thread and we're going to go through one more time. And then we're going to do a loop. We're going to do about 5 loops around that, inside that loop right there, and then pull it and then run it through the other side and go ahead and cut that off. Next, for the beard, we're going to cut it at 2 inches by 2 inches and then cutting behind the faux fur in a U shape. And then go ahead and clean any excess fur off. Next, for the little jacket, I'm going to take a piece of fabric that measures 8.5 by 6 3/4, and I'm just coming right up by the arm and making a slit big enough for the arm to go through. And that's the 8-inch side right there that goes around him. And then cut the other side to match it, and then go ahead and run his hands through it. Now you can actually cut your fabric at 4.5 because I am going to cut this off as well. You just want it down to where his legs are still showing. And then go ahead and run his arms up on in here. And then we're going to go across his chest and glue it together. But you can see how much fabric I have left over at the top. You can go ahead and cut yours at 4.5 inches in length. But you want to make sure you cut it 8.5 inches around. And then go ahead and overlap that in the front, and we're going to glue that down. And here's where I cut mine down. So go ahead and just cut your fabric at 8.5 by 4.5. Okay, next we're going to take a piece of chipboard that measures 2 3/4 by 7.5 inches, and we are going to score it at 2 1/4 inches. Okay, next you're going to go ahead and glue in the top part because you have that excess fabric right there. And then go ahead and fold that over like that and do the same thing on this side. Glue it down and then go ahead and fold that flap over and glue it flat. We're going to attach our beard and we're just going to go right up to the top edge of that fabric and then just glue that right to it. Go ahead and take your chipboard, fold it around, make sure that it goes all the way over the top, and we're going to glue this about 3/4 of an inch. About 3/4 of an inch overlap. And then just go ahead and glue that together. Okay, then go ahead and take your scissors and cut down to that line that we just did, the score line, and we're going to cut about 1/2 inch strips all the way around. And then go ahead and start folding all those in. And this is what we're going to put the top part of the hat on. So you want to glue each one of those little tabs to each other all the way around till it's flat. But make sure you do get this pretty flat. Next, we're going to cover this with felt, and my felt is going to be 2 1/4 inches by 7.5 inches. And I'm just going to start in the very back of the hat and glue my felt down. And then we're going to go all the way around, then we're going to trim it out a little bit just so that the sides meet together and don't overlap. But get plenty of glue on this. And just kind of make sure that it is straight. And then when you get down to the very end, just cut off enough to where they just overlap each other. And then just glue that flat. For the top part of the hat, we're going to take a piece of craft foam that measures 4 inches by 4 inches, and this is the 1/4 inch craft foam. And then we're going to take a ruler and we're going to go across the diagonals and make a mark in the center. And then we're going to turn it the other way and go across the diagonal and make a mark in the center. This will give us our center point. And then just take your X-Acto knife and cut a little slit in here. Okay, to make the hanging part, I'm taking a piece of gross grain ribbon and it measures 8.5 inches and it's a 1/2 inch ribbon, and I'm just going to sew this to the top of the hat. This is going to be the part that comes through the hat that they can hang it with. So get it stitched in really well, and I would use a little thicker thread on this one. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be covered up anyway, but you do want to make sure that you get it stitched on there real well so that it can't come off. And then go ahead and tie your knot. And then we're going to run it through the head and cut it off here in a second. Just go right through it and then pull it out to the other side and cut it off. Next, to attach the hat, we're going to go ahead and run our cardboard piece through here, pull it all the way down, and then we're going to come through the top part of the hat. Now, I had to cut my hole a little bit bigger. Just kind of put your scissors in there and wall her out a little bit. It's a 4 by 4, and then we're just going to go ahead and run our our ribbon through here. And you may need something sharp to kind of push it on through there, but don't make your hole too big. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this to the top part of the hat. And make sure you do have one of the corners facing forward. And then put plenty of glue on here because you do want to make sure it stays on good. And then just hold it until it dries. Push it on down there. Next, we're going to go ahead and turn him over, and we are going to glue the back part of the hat to the body. Next, for the nose, I'm just going to use a 1/2 inch felt bead, and I'm just going to glue it right to the beard. Just right up underneath that hat, and then we're going to glue the hat right to the nose. Next, I'm going to take some embroidery floss. I'm just going to take a tassel. I'll give you the link for these. And I'm just going to go ahead and tie a knot right here at the top. And before I tie it closed, I'm going to add a little brad to the center of it. And then I'm going to glue that on. And then go ahead and get all your string wrapped around there. Then we're going to put a little dollop of glue right in the center. And we're just going to attach our brad right in the center just to hold our tassel. And that was pretty much it. Pretty simple. He turned out super cute. Okay, I think he turned out so cute. You could make him into any kind of gnome that you want to just by changing out his hat. If you like these kind of videos, be sure to give me a like and subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any more videos. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.